What if you could turn your daily anxiety into a source of inner power instead of a crippling hindrance? Most people never realize that mastering our emotions is a trainable skill, one rooted in ancient wisdom. Tap into the secrets of Stoic emotion training and unlock a more resilient, unshakable you. 5 practices to overcome daily anxiety. Stoic emotion training, compiled and published by Stoic Dominion. Lesson 1. Control the first inner reaction. Picture a great mountain in the heart of a storm, its cliffs lit only by the tremulous glow of distant lightning, battered relentlessly by rain and wind, yet unmoving, resolute. Within all of us is this mountain, silent strength waiting beneath the surface. But more often, we feel like reeds by the riverside, bending and breaking under emotional currents we can't see coming. The first inner reaction, the quick flash of fear, irritation, shame, or anxious unrest, often catches us at our weakest, before wisdom or reason has any chance to step forward and offer counsel. In these split seconds, we glimpse our own mind's vast power. This is also the moment where so many of our daily struggles with anxiety and emotional turbulence truly begin. Everyone knows this feeling, even if they call it by different names. The trembling pulse when you receive unexpected criticism at work, the heat rising to your face when misfortune swoops in without warning, the clenched jaw driving home after a mistake seems irreparable. Emotion strikes, unbidden and raw. For many, this invisible force steers the day, hijacks confidence, and colors judgment long after the moment has passed. Behind every hasty word or impulsive regret, there is almost always an unnoticed spark. Our instantaneous inner response, swifter than thought, deeper than conscious intention. In the heat of stress or fear, emotion surges up like a wild horse, and suddenly we become its passenger, dragged in directions we never chose. This challenge doesn't take the form of dragons to slay or impossible puzzles to solve. It arrives in humble daily moments, disguised in our automatic reactions, an angry retort, a rush of embarrassment, sudden defensiveness, or quiet self-judgment. Even those who seem most unshakable often battle quietly with this first spark of feeling, wondering whether their lives could be more purposeful, composed, and free. Some people become caught in a cycle, reacting first, regretting later, always feeling a step behind their true potential. Many look outside themselves for calmness that is, in fact, already present at their core. A mountain beneath the storm, always there, simply waiting to be recognized. What if you could greet each new disturbance, the sharp comment, the looming fear or uncertainty, the pull of unexpected emotion, not as an enemy to be beaten, but as a silent visitor to be welcomed and studied? Imagine living like the disciplined archer whose first motion is never to draw the bow recklessly, but to relax the breath, steady the hand, and wait for the right clarity before letting the arrow fly. Mastery is not found in never feeling emotion, but in learning not to be seized by instant reaction. This, at its heart, is the first Stoic practice in training your mind and emotions. To recognize that flash, pause before you respond, and in the briefest gap, gain command. The solution begins with cultivating space between stimulus and response, a small but vital breath of mindfulness and curiosity. For most of us, that space seems far too narrow to alter. It feels as if our feelings come first, and sense arrives only after the dust settles. True Stoic emotional control starts with this: the realization that however fast events may unfold, there's always a flicker, a fraction of a second, where the mind may rise above the waves and choose stillness over reflex. This is the practice of setting that inner mountain firmly in its place. Whenever you feel a surge of worry, anger, or sadness, imagine that you are the captain of a silent ship gliding over a black sea at midnight. Tempestuous though the waters may become, the ship's helm is not lost. It is firmly in your hands. You possess command, if only you train yourself to pause and grasp it. The benefit of this approach is felt almost immediately. The first time you choose not to snap back or cling to a fleeting anxiety, you catch a glimpse of great untapped strength. You might notice that, even when the world conjures storms and confusion, you possess the choice to respond rather than simply react. Ancient philosophers understood this as the beginning of freedom, the only true freedom available to anyone. mastery of one's own mind in the face of events beyond control. Instead of being ruled by circumstance or fleeting moods, you begin to understand yourself as an active agent, like the archer mindful of each shot, no matter how many arrows fly. The Stoic wisdom behind controlling the first inner reaction is deceptively simple. Rather than holding back emotion altogether, you learn to acknowledge its arrival without letting it take the reins. You welcome your feelings like visitors, but do not give them free run of the house. You become the gatekeeper, a gentle, attentive presence that listens, recognizes, and then determines what comes next. The act is neither suppression nor denial, but skillful invitation, a silent negotiation where the wise part of the mind remains awake, guiding the response from a place of clarity. You do not become emotionless, but you become undefinable by any single emotion. It is as if you keep a calm interior fire burning, visible only in the steadiness of your gaze, the patience of your speech, and the certainty of your actions under pressure. Imagine yourself standing in a noisy market, voices shouting, smells overwhelming, every distraction clamoring for attention. The untrained mind is like a shopper darting wildly from stall to stall, unable to choose, overwhelmed by options and opinions. The trained Stoic, by contrast, moves deliberately, selecting only the things that are needed, tuning out the unnecessary. The essence of this approach is simple but profound. Slow down your answer. When provoked or caught off guard, give yourself permission not to do anything, not even to react in the moment. Breathe. Notice the feeling. Remind yourself, inwardly or aloud, that you have total authority over what comes next. You are not a reed swept by the river. You are the mountain, unmoved by passing storms. The first victory is the victory of the gap. The moment where your awareness turns panic into pause, reactivity into measured presence. As you practice this, that pause grows longer and more natural, a sacred interlude in which the mind becomes an ally rather than an adversary. The storms do not cease, and emotions still arise as visitors, but now you meet them as the silent Stoic. Undefeatable, not because nothing touches you, but because you meet everything with courage and calm fortitude. Each day gives you many chances to strengthen this muscle. A harsh word, a small frustration, an accusation, or even your own inner doubts. Each time you notice the first reaction and choose to pause, you deepen your mastery. You become the captain who trusts the ship will hold steady, no matter how wild the sea. In this powerfully simple way, controlling the first inner reaction becomes not just a technique, but a way of living. It opens the path to silent self-assurance, greater control, and a mind always prepared to weather whatever storms may come. Secure in the knowledge that within you lies the mountain that never moves. Whenever you feel that first wave of emotion, quietly pause, take a slow breath. Notice what your body and thoughts are doing, and remind yourself that you have the power to choose your response. Practicing this daily will gift you greater calm, sharper focus, and unstoppable confidence in the face of adversity. Each pause builds inner mastery, transforming anxious habits into clarity and self-command. And soon you will notice your mind becoming a true ally, not merely a source of distraction or stress. Try this simple exercise throughout your day, celebrating every small victory and recognize each pause as progress. In the next lesson, you'll learn how to look directly at your fears without judgment, unlocking an even deeper sense of emotional freedom and insight. If this lesson resonates with you, remember to subscribe, like, and share your insights or suggestions in the comments, supporting the growth of our Stoic community and your personal journey of mastery. Lesson 2. Name the fear without judgment. There is a moment each dawn when the whole world holds its breath. The sky flickers, shadows stretch, and before the first bird song shatters the stillness, you might feel an ancient sensation. Weight upon the chest, a quiet, nameless dread. This is the silent hour where fear lives, often just beneath the surface, waiting for the day to grant it a face and a voice. For so many striving to master their emotions, this is the battlefield. The unspoken adversary is not always the chaos outside, but the subtle fears running unseen currents through the streams of thought. To train our minds, we must learn to turn and face that quiet visitor by name, not as an enemy to banish, but as a messenger with wisdom to unlock. We are all travelers along shifting terrain. Some mornings, purpose and hope light our path, but on other days clouds gather, doubts whisper, and the road narrows under the pressure of uncertainty. You may feel sharp flashes of self-doubt during a stressful meeting, or a wave of panic before public speaking, or the icy chill of uncertainty when you open an unexpected email. Life rarely offers warning, and the mind responds quickly, summoning anxious narratives. I'm not good enough. If I fail, I lose everything. What if they see my mistakes? In these fleeting moments, fear operates from the shadows, quick to drape everything in its shroud before we've caught the first note of its melody. Many people try to fight that feeling, shoving anxious thoughts aside or distracting themselves in the hope that fear will vanish if left unspoken. Unfortunately, this often intensifies the sensation, turning a passing cloud into a persistent storm. Pushing fear away only entrenches it more deeply, quietly sharpening its hold. Others make the mistake of believing their fear as a statement of truth, letting anxious scenarios dictate their actions, holding back ideas, avoiding opportunities, or shrinking from crucial challenges. These patterns, resistance on one side, blind acceptance on the other, trap us in a struggle that feels unwinnable, as if fear is a riddle that cannot be solved or a shadow that cannot be outrun. It is here that many stall on the journey toward emotional mastery, believing either that emotions should be ignored or that they must be endured without resistance. Neither is true. But what if you approached fear like a patient archer, drawing back the bow and aiming not at a distant enemy, but at your own uncertain heart? The path to becoming undefeatable begins not with strength alone, but with clarity, with meeting your fears directly, describing them plainly and without judgment, as though introducing an old acquaintance to a trusted friend. The transformative practice here is simple, but profound. Pause, breathe, and without criticism or self-blame, quietly name the fear in your mind. Whether it's, I am afraid of failing in front of others, or I am worried I will disappoint those who rely on me, or even I fear not being enough, you call the feeling into the light. For in naming a fear, its grip is softened. What is vague and formless becomes defined and approachable, stripped of the power to dictate your every move. Imagine yourself as the calm captain of the ship, not running from the rolling fog on the horizon, but standing high on the deck, charting its shape and declaring, there is uncertainty ahead. I see it, I acknowledge it, I do not hate it, nor do I hide from it. This practice, drawn from ancient Stoic tradition, flows with both gentleness and power. Marcus Aurelius himself wrote of looking things directly in the face so the mind can see clearly without distortion or panic. The purpose is never self-punishment. Instead, it is to see with honest clarity. The more you quietly observe and name what you fear, the more your mind learns that these emotions are not monsters, but messengers asking to be heard. The heart of this approach is non-judgment. In our modern world, we are conditioned to label emotions good or bad, strong or weak, and all too often, fear falls into the category of weakness or failure. Real Stoic mastery rejects this. Emotions simply are signals, like lights on a distant shore, guiding ships safely through the fog. When you name your fear without judgment, you create a silent atmosphere where the old inner critic grows faint, and in its place, understanding, compassion, and deliberate action begin to emerge. Like a seasoned navigator, familiar with every current, you gain new skill in charting the inner sea, finding that you steer more boldly and skillfully through rough waters. The benefits of this practice reveal themselves with time and repetition. When you accept fear as a visitor and greet it by name, what once felt all-consuming begins to diminish. Each act of honest acknowledgement builds confidence, calm, and a kind of unshakable humility. Not because fear disappears, but because you welcome it as part of being fully human. You start to notice that your mind grows quieter, less cluttered by vague anxieties, and more alert to the actual opportunities and dangers around you. This calm, silent strength becomes magnetic. Others sense your composure and are drawn to your presence. Your confidence becomes the fire that glows in winter darkness, a steady beacon for yourself and for others seeking direction. This skill, though ancient, is utterly alive when you put it into practice. It does not demand perfection or unbreakable courage. Instead, it asks for honesty and gentleness with yourself, the same qualities you would offer a dear friend. Think of emotion mastery not as defeating every fear, but as learning to sit unmoved at the center of the storm, listening as the thunder speaks. Not to frighten you, but to remind you of all you still have to learn, all you still can become. Each day, pause for even a moment, breathe deeply, and greet each rising worry or doubt, not as a flaw, but as something true. This is the wise beginning. You unlock your mind, train your courage in silence, and become the still fire, untouched yet illuminated by every passing wind. Whenever fear or anxiety arises, pause, breathe deeply, and clearly name what you're feeling without judging it. By practicing this, you invite clarity, honesty, and strength into your daily life, freeing yourself from confusion and unlocking courage. Try this today and get ready for the next lesson, where you'll learn to anchor to present rational thought. Remember to subscribe, like, and share your thoughts or suggestions in the comments to help build and support our growing Stoic community. Lesson 3. Anchor to present rational thought. Picture yourself as a lone ship on a vast, rolling ocean. High winds rake the deck, thunder billows in the distance, and waves, towering unruly, threaten to hurl you off course at any moment. Under the surface, powerful currents roil restlessly. On such a night, how do you remain upright and unbroken? The wise mariner reaches for the anchor, casting it into the deep to steady his craft against the surging tides. In the great voyage of the mind, anchoring yourself to present rational thought is an act every bit as life-saving. When emotional storms howl, it is reason that holds us, solid, unmoved, unwavering. Yet for most of us, daily life can feel like living on such a ship. Responsibilities, demands, criticisms, and unexpected news strike like sudden gales, turning our mental waters murky and agitated. When tense situations arise, you might notice your thoughts scattering, worries spinning wild, past mistakes returning like ghostly shapes, or future anxieties swelling until you feel adrift. Many of us get swept away by yesterday's regrets or tomorrow's doubts, losing track of what's true and steady right now. Despite our best intentions, the mind erupts with what-ifs and catastrophic scenarios, each more dramatic than the next, until our confidence falters and our clarity dims. Imagine you're sitting across from your boss, and criticism comes your way. Instantly, your heart thunders, old failures replay, and all you can think of is what might go wrong next. Will they lose faith in you? Will you lose your job? What will follow? In another moment, maybe you check your phone and read troubling news or catch an offhanded remark from a friend. Again, your mind lurches, racing to predict bad outcomes, crafting stories of blame, dread, or disappointment. The more you brood or resist these moments, the more your fears grow, consuming your focus and distracting from what matters. It's easy, almost natural, to let emotions or memories seize the wheel, taking you farther from the here and now. This is a silent battle faced by all who seek mastery. This tug-of-war between runaway feeling and calm understanding. We are tempted to run from discomfort, to wish ourselves into the past, or launch ourselves anxiously into imaginary futures. Either way, we become passengers, not captains, of our mental ship. But there is another way, a calmer, surer practice that brings immediate relief and lifelong benefit. The practice is anchoring yourself to present rational thought, planting your awareness firmly in what is true and knowable in this moment, and placing faith not in fleeting emotion, but in clear comprehension. The ancient Stoics taught that only what happens in the present exists within our power. Marcus Aurelius, Roman emperor and philosopher, would remind himself daily, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." There is deep wisdom here. You cannot choose all that happens, but you always choose how to interpret it. Emotional storms can twist facts, exaggerate threats, or flood us with unnecessary alarm. But present rational thought is your inner compass, pointing to reality, what's actually happening, what can be controlled, and what must be released. This is what the disciplined soul returns to, just as the archer returns, again and again, to proper stance and breath with each new target. How do you begin this journey? The process can start wherever you are, no matter the chaos surrounding you. First, when turmoil brews or anxiety rises, pause and become deeply aware of where your focus is sinking. Are you mired in regrets about yesterday, spiraling with dread for what tomorrow might bring? Or are you interpreting the present only through emotion, not through truth? In this moment, reclaim your captaincy. Bring your attention gently and firmly to the here and now. Ask, what is real and concrete in this moment? What do I actually know? Not fear, not assume, but know. Maybe you realize, right now I'm simply hearing some feedback, but I'm safe. Or, at this instant, these are just thoughts, not tests or disasters. By slowing down and turning thoughts toward present evidence, not past or potential pain, you begin to quiet emotional turbulence. It is as if you lower your ship's anchor, feeling tension in the chain as it strikes bedrock. You sense instantly that you are steadied, even as winds howl. With practice, you notice the world's loudest chaos begins to quiet, and your decisions become less frantic and more deliberate. Instead of reaching for familiar worries or old fears, you operate from a calm, lucid awareness that is the heart of emotional control. Over time, this anchoring becomes second nature, a reflex for the disciplined mind. Instead of being ruled by inner noise, you construct and inhabit a place of reason. Friends, colleagues, or family may bring unpredictable energy to your door. Life, of course, will remain demanding, sometimes overwhelming. But the silent Stoic develops a habit, returning again and again to the truth of the moment, unmoved by old ghosts or imaginary futures. As the archer trusts the discipline of each draw, you learn to trust this humble act, returning to the evidence, seeing what actually stands before you, and letting reason, not raw emotion, be your guide. This state is both freeing and profoundly attractive. People sense your presence, seeking your counsel, drawn like moths to the flame of your cool-headed certainty. You grow not invulnerable, but undefeatable, not because nothing moves you, but because you return endlessly to what is real and controllable. You become, steadily, a person whose actions are measured, whose judgments are sound, and whose mind, though stirred by wind and waves, stands anchored in truth. Through this act, you unlock a depth of calm and the ability to navigate even the stormiest sea without losing your way. And like a fire on a mountaintop or a steadfast beacon at harbor, your rational clarity can illuminate not just your journey, but inspire others whose ships have not yet found the shore. When you feel swept up by emotion, pause, take a breath, list the facts of your situation, and focus on what you can control right now. With regular practice, you'll notice deeper calm, sharper focus, and more resilience during challenges. Try anchoring your mind today, and in the next lesson, discover how to reframe chaos through Stoic order. If you found value here, please subscribe, like, and share your thoughts or suggestions in the comments to support our growing Stoic community. Lesson 4. Reframe chaos through Stoic order. Imagine a storm raging through an ancient city, winds spiraling down narrow streets, shutters flapping, doors rattling, chaos blurring every line of certainty into streaks of rain and shadow. In the city's heart stands a quiet square, where a lone statue remains unmoved, worn but unbroken, facing the storm with silent dignity. This is the essence of a Stoic mind when the noise of chaos surrounds it. A still point of order and meaning within confusion, an anchor when the world threatens to dissolve into uncertainty. We are all, at intervals, both the square beset by the storm and the statue striving to stand firm as all around us unravels. There are periods when life itself feels wild and unpredictable. Everything comes at once. Obligations at work stack up, relationships fray, unexpected troubles demand your attention, and the incessant swirl of small and large worries creates noise that drowns out your sense of direction. Sometimes it happens suddenly. A single careless word from someone, a piece of bad news, or an unforeseen expense spirals out, and the routine sense of control you had vanishes, replaced by a feeling of being swept up, directionless, by forces much larger than yourself. In these moments, the desire for order isn't just about tidiness or organization. It becomes a need for sanity, something to help you focus, breathe, and keep moving without losing your way. Many people try to push back against this chaos by attempting to manage every detail or silence every distraction. But fighting chaos directly can sometimes make it louder. Others respond by withdrawing, collapsing inward, hoping to outlast the turmoil without taking any action at all. Either way, the result is the same. The more we try to control things outside our grasp or avoid the discomfort inside of us, the more powerless we feel. The internal landscape mirrors the external one. Confusion breeds confusion, and anxiety intensifies when everything feels tangled and unsolvable. In these restless currents, even the strongest can question whether calm or clarity are truly possible when so many forces storm beneath the surface. But what if the answer was not to battle chaos directly, nor to turn away from it, but instead to transform how we relate to it? Here, the practice of the Stoic offers a paradox that is both simple and profound. Instead of trying to force order upon the world, create order within yourself first. Picture a disciplined archer, surrounded by a distracted crowd and shifting winds, focusing not on the commotion, but on his breath, his grip, and the target ahead. Or imagine the calm lighthouse, shining an untroubled beam through the wildest night, not fighting the tumult around it, but clarifying the way for any traveler bold enough to look for the light. This is the Stoic mindset, not about controlling events, but about deliberately forming your own guiding principles, intentions, and patterns of meaning within the cyclone. The transformation begins with reframing chaos not as something to be feared, but as an invitation to order the mind. In the teachings of the Stoics, chaos is the proving ground where character and calm are built. Instead of drowning in details or becoming distracted by every crisis, bring your attention to what is truly important and within your influence: your attitude, your judgments, your immediate actions. Identify one clear value to uphold: courage, honesty, patience, especially when the noise grows loud. Let that chosen value serve as your lighthouse through the fog. This isn't only philosophical advice, it's practical. When outer life is out of control, even small inner acts of decision become powerful. Prioritizing a single task, recognizing which emotion is worth responding to, and which can be let pass. Each act, however small, refines the self, cutting through the confusion and bringing light to the next step ahead. As you shift your focus from what is turbulent to what can be ordered inside yourself, you unlock a new relationship to chaos itself. Rather than an overwhelming threat, you come to see chaos as raw material, the dark forest through which new understanding, resilience, and originality are forged. Every sense of confusion becomes a signal, not of personal inadequacy, but an opportunity to test and strengthen your own clarity and composure. Ancient wisdom is alive here. When you decide there is something within you that cannot be shaken, every outer disarray loses its power to define you. Even if circumstances don't settle immediately, you carry an aura of assurance and gravity. Not because nothing touches you, but because chaos can no longer unseat your sense of self or worth. Your experience of life changes in small, meaningful ways. Outwardly, you become more productive and less scattered, learning to do one thing at a time with thoughtful presence. Inwardly, you grow quieter, more observant, and far less likely to spin in anxious circles over the unknown or the uncontrollable. When challenges mount, instead of overwhelming you, they remind you to return to your chosen principles, the order that you have built in your own mind. This transformation is magnetic. People instinctively trust and follow those who remain unshaken when others fall into confusion. Just as lost sailors seek the lighthouse in the thickest night. This practice does not ask you to ignore the world's storms or pretend all is well when it isn't. Instead, it teaches you to honor your mind's power to organize meaning out of chaos, to establish priorities, and to live by deeper intention than circumstance allows. In the end, Stoic order is not natural calmness, but intentional discipline, formed in the heat of challenge, refined by reflection, and sustained by a daily return to what matters most. Like the enduring statue or the quiet lighthouse, it is possible for you to become such a presence, a reliable source of guidance, either for yourself or for others who may be lost in the storm. In every swirl of confusion, there's always this possibility. to sweep aside the clutter, select what must be done, and stand firm with purpose until clear skies arrive again. When chaos surrounds you, pause to select one priority, breathe deeply, and act on it with purpose. Every time you do, your mind grows clearer and your confidence steadier. Start practicing this daily, celebrating progress and order. In our next lesson, we'll train peace through daily exposure. Please subscribe, like, and share your thoughts or suggestions below to support our community. Lesson 5. Train peace with daily exposure. A river's current is strongest where the rocks are sharpest and the water deepest. Yet, over time, those same waters polish stones until they are smooth as pearls. This is the silent work of persistence. The steady transformation that comes not from hiding away, but from returning day after day to what once troubled you. Deep within the search for emotional control lies a secret. Peace is not found simply by escaping disturbance, but by training alongside it. To become one who masters emotion, to be truly undefeatable, is to become at home in the presence of difficulty through deliberate and compassionate exposure. Every person who has sought to grow has felt the sting of adversity. Moments of tension at work, awkwardness in social settings, the quiet friction of stepping beyond comfort zones. Often we tell ourselves that inner calm will arise only when life's stressors finally recede, or when our confidence is fully formed. Yet time and again, these waves return. Another challenging conversation, another setback, another test of nerve. The longing for peace in a world so turbulent can kindle frustration and doubt. Why can't inner stillness just stay with us? Why does anxiety or discomfort flare back just when we believe it's been left behind? The problem many seekers face is that real transformation is rarely immediate, and old habits of avoidance promise a false relief. When we feel anxious or fearful about a certain situation, public speaking, socializing, taking ownership of mistakes, or making important decisions, the urge is to resist or retreat. We avoid difficult discussions, let tasks pile up, or shy away from new opportunities. The momentary calm this gives us is short-lived. As months roll by, our worlds may shrink. Boundaries become walls, peace turns into careful avoidance, and our confidence erodes without ever being truly tested. Life begins to feel like walking a narrowing path. One careful step after another, always one eye out for danger. Fulfillment, presence, and true inner strength seem eternally out of reach. Imagine, however, the seasoned sailor. If you only ever sail calm seas, how shall you learn to captain your ship through storms? If the archer never draws his bow in a gusting wind, what aim will he have when it truly matters? The ancient Stoics, just as skilled as any mariner or warrior, understood this truth. Sustained peace comes from facing, not fleeing, what disturbs us. Day by day, in measured amounts, they would walk towards their discomfort, deliberately placing themselves in situations that tested their nerves. Not recklessly, nor to overwhelm, but to gently train the mind to meet life as it is, not as we wish it would be. To practice daily exposure is to open yourself, not to trauma or chaos, but to controlled and thoughtful encounters with the very things that challenge you. Perhaps your heart races before a small talk. Start by inviting brief conversations, holding presence there, and feeling each moment fully. If making decisions triggers unease, choose minor, low-stakes choices each day until the act itself no longer holds you captive. Whatever it is, a quick apology, an honest confession, or simply standing a moment longer in discomfort, your daily practice is this. Lean in just enough to sense the edges, staying present, and trusting that every return makes you more resilient, a little more at home within your own experience. The benefits of this approach may appear quietly at first, but soon their power emerges. Each exposure, rather than reawakening anxiety, gently erodes the fear of feeling fear itself. Like the river shaping stone, your mind learns, through repetition, that what once seemed overwhelming loses its edge with contact. Your emotional system recalibrates, less startled by each wave, more willing to try again and again. Where avoidance once built walls of anxious anticipation, confidence grows in its place. Experiences expand, opportunities appear less daunting, relationships deepen, and the sense of possibility widens both inwardly and out. You are no longer defined by what you escape, but by how boldly and kindly you engage the world and your own heart. This technique has the wisdom of centuries behind it, yet speaks freshly to today's world. To train peace by daily exposure is not to seek trouble, but to accept reality with courageous gentleness. Stop bracing so tightly against discomfort and instead acknowledge its presence as a teacher. Each intentional step, however small, reminds the mind and spirit that safety and peace are qualities grown within, not granted by circumstances. Those who practice consistently become what the Stoics called silent warriors, undaunted by noise, dependable in chaos, radiating calm that attracts and reassures others. It's possible, even inevitable, for you to become this balanced soul when you trust the process and meet each new challenge consciously rather than cowering from it. In this way, daily exposure ceases to be an ordeal and becomes a quiet, dignified ritual, a form of training. Like a flame that burns, steady and calm, within a lantern buffeted by the wind, your character gains shape, your impact deepens, and those around you sense a new gravity and openness that can't be faked. Slowly and surely, peace ceases to be a wish or a prize. It evolves into your everyday reality. Through this ancient and alive method, you turn adversity into a trusted instructor and greet the unknown, not with fear, but with a stillness that grows stronger each day. Begin by gently seeking out small, manageable challenges every day. Pause, breathe, and stay present in each moment of discomfort. Over time, you'll notice anxiety fades, confidence grows, and true calm emerges from repeated exposure. Start today. Trust your progress and celebrate each mindful step, knowing that every effort brings you closer to lasting inner peace. You've now learned 5 essential Stoic practices to master emotion, calm your mind, and cultivate inner strength. Thank you for joining this journey of growth and self-mastery. If you found value in these lessons, please like, comment, and subscribe to support our channel and continue exploring the power of Stoic wisdom together.